Beyond the pillars of Heracles, amidst the brine-blue waves, is Albion. Like the holy elm, the roots of the kin of this land spread out. The Pritanoi are restless. Hello and welcome to my Let's Play in a narrative format of the Pritanoi faction for the EB2 mod of Medieval 2 Total War. I'm a big fan of this mod, not only for the quality and the intricacy of the mechanics involved in the game, but for the sheer amount of loving attention to detail the EB2 team gave to immersion in the mysterious world of ancient antiquity. Let's start by familiarizing ourselves with the faction leader of the Pritanoi. His name is Tigurnos by Dagnos, 24 years of age, in the spring of 272 BC. His personal retinue of companions includes a skilled charioteer, who leads a contingent of wheeled death at the behest of his chieftain, and a druid, with whom he devoutly consults on matters of faith and augury. He is a member of the foremost tribe among the peoples of Albion, the Pritanoi, Tin Islanders in the English language. Renowned traders and ferocious warriors, the Pritanoi command a position of great respect and authority among the lesser kinfolk of Albion. We learn also that he is a veteran of many battles, having led the command of his tribal warriors in no less than 4 skirmishes with unruly neighbours. His experiences in combat have combined with his natural intelligence to make him a skilled tactician and a talented leader. A life of demanding expectations from his father has made him stern and unforgiving in his nature, whilst his childhood friendship with his cousin, whom later became his druidic advisor, forged a deep sense of spirituality in his heart. There are few men who excel in all that they do. This man may be one of those few. At least, he lacks any glaring weakness in his intellect, charisma, or his vitality. This gives him a head start, but it does not mean he has already won the race. We see that he is both unselfish and optimistic, meaning that he always tries to see the good in others, and indeed in any situations that he finds himself. We are told he has the skills necessary to lead a skirmish at night, and that he holds the rank of Tigurnos, the chosen leader of the Pritanoi. The Celts divide their year into 2 separate seasons: summer, Fidnanos, and winter, Ogrosan. Summer includes the months of Giamon, Simiuison, Equos, Alembio, Edrin, and Cantalos. There is no autumn or spring, but in the middle of the summer, the Celtic people celebrate the summer solstice, which divides the season into two parts. The first part of summer is regarded as dark summer, as it is a period of rebirth, but it also represents periods of ritual war that have the dualistic nature of introducing dark, death-related concepts. The second part of summer is regarded as light summer, as days are longer than nights and temperatures rise. Despite the death connotations of the early part of summer, this is a great time of war for the Celts. Whereas the dark winter threatens the lives of their own men, the dark spring, in a dualistic nature, represents a threat to their enemies. Celtic warriors, emboldened by their religious fervour, find this to be the best time for war, as the auguries give them hope that the enemy shall be overcome. Our spy, Seneculos, travels north to scout the forces of the tribe, whom shall be the first victims of the Pritanoi warband this dark spring, a tribe known as the Domnonaioi. He locates and identifies one of their chieftains, leading a raiding party of unimpressive size, not far from the hill fort of Penacrugon. Bydagnos sounds the call to battle, as tribesmen gather together in brotherhoods and warbands to fight the enemies of the Pritanoi. They muster together into a mighty host on the lands of the Domnonaioi, their arrival heralded by animals and slaves fleeing in their wake. Bydagnos pays coin to some surly local Domnonians who are unsatisfied with their lot and desire to steal the riches of their neighbours alongside the invaders. Travelling north, Bydagnos finds his path constantly waylaid and troubled by large forests and rampant undergrowth. He sends a rider back to the hill fort with orders for workmen to begin a project of improving the roadworks in our home province. Satisfied with his preparations, Bydagnos orders an assault on the enemy warband. But as the Pritanoi begin their advance, the cowardly Domnonaioi chieftain hastily draws his warriors back, fleeing north along the banks of a nearby river. With little else to be achieved this season, I end my turn. Of some concern during the end turn phase is the encroachment of a hostile warband from the east, who I suspect might be eager to exploit the defenceless hill fort back home. Whilst contemplating whether to pursue the enemy chieftain or assault the hill fort, Bydagnos sends his spy to infiltrate the settlement's defences. The province of Arduan. With firm steps and strides determined, the traveller sets out north. Behind him are the coastal lands, besieged by waves, gateways to the world. To the north are wind-whipped dales, rain-stroked hills, and snow-cloaked mountains. But between these contrasts, basking in sleepy sunlight, is the home of the Pritanoi, a land-locked realm where the inhabitants throw up walls of turf to rival the mightiest fortifications of the Hellenes, where warriors, archaic Argons, ride into battle on chariots drawn by wild ponies, where shields shimmer with bronze and death may come from a whistling slingstone. This is an ancient land. The monuments of ancient peoples, names forgotten, litter the land, and though their meaning may be lost, they remain as focal points where men may connect with spirits long departed. To the unwary, these Pritanoi may appear simple folk. Their weapons are but rough creations of the forge. They live their lives driving flocks of sheep, and go into battle clad in little more than cloaks, trousers, and arcane patterns of blue ink upon their flesh. However, within the chests of these men, women, and children beat formidable brave and resilient hearts. Their eyes, sitting in skulls adorned with lime-clad hair, stare, hungry for battle and for conquest. Land of the Pritanoi, the centre, the power, the high place of Albion. Bydagnos lays siege to the hill fort of Penacrugon, planning to assert his people's dominance over the province of Ardaon. He is wary of the enemy chieftain to the north, but given the man's cowardly nature, the Pritanoi chieftain is confident the retreating warband will not return to challenge him. Turn 3 brings the season of Luganatus, and with it the proposal of a lesser chieftain seeking to marry into the household of the Tigurnos. Bydagnos refuses this man, finding him unfit in nature or prestige for the responsibilities the position he seeks would burden him with. An emissary of the Pritanoi travels south, seeking opportunities for trade with other cultures. Though you start with a powerful army in EB2, your finances are in utter disarray, and it's very important to seize territory quickly in order to survive. I'm conscious of this, so Bydagnos gives the order to assault the hill fort of Penacrugon. I immediately realize my mistake. I've only brought one battering ram to this siege, which means the enemy can easily hold my forces in a choke point. Bydagnos adapts to this situation by gathering together his strongest and most trusted warriors to serve as a vanguard, including himself. The Tegoslogos are the most powerful infantry unit available to me early game, so I plan to put them to good use. The warriors assemble into contingents, according to their rank and station, with the lesser noblemen of the traitorous Domnonaioi joining Bydagnos and his personal retinue, the better to keep an eye on them. The attack order is given, and the ram begins to move forward. Bydagnos notices that the enemy towers are unmanned, as no projectiles fall on the expendable youths pushing the ram. He orders his older warriors to move forward. The ram shatters the gate with little resistance, as the two forces exchange volleys of javelins over the hill fort's walls. Suddenly, the defenders surge forth unexpectedly, catching the youthful ram pushers unawares. As the boys fight desperately to escape, Bydagnos rushes forward to meet the enemy with his ferocious band of veterans. As the enemy warriors begin to break before Bydagnos and his butchery, the youths dash back into the fray to recover the ram and start moving it towards a different gate. The Domnonaioi fighting at the gate shatter, leaving the way open for Bydagnos and his men to gain a foothold inside the settlement. Enemy tribesmen muster a defensive line to meet the invaders. The impetuous enemy veterans, eager to avenge the slaughter of their younger kinsmen, suddenly break ranks and charge the Pritanoi. Bydagnos and his men meet the charge, as noblemen now spill one another's blood in a ferocious tumult. Two units of Pritanoi warriors move to flank, encircling the enemy noblemen as other spearmen move to attack the Domnonian skirmishers. The youths carrying the battering ram finally shatter another gate, leaving a flanking route open for the Pritanoi to challenge the Dumnonian defenders, who are now stretched gravely thin by the overwhelming numbers of the attackers. A band of spearmen assault the ram-bearers, and the reinforcing Pritanoi warriors quicken their pace to assist their kinsmen. Meanwhile, more spearmen move into the hill fort from the first breach, running the long gauntlet around the fort's exterior to flank the centre. Bydagnos personally challenges the Dumnonian chieftain to battle in the fracas at the front gate. The pair exchange a few glancing blows until Bydagnos suddenly batters the man's shield aside and drives his sword into his foe's throat. Seizing the dying man by the hair, he cuts the chieftain's head from his body, and Bydagnos ties the scalp to his belt. The Dumnonians are disheartened and desperately fall back to the centre of the fort. The situation looks bleak for the Dumnonioi, with their chieftain slaughtered, and the vast majority of the hill fort's defensive positions lost to the invaders. Unwilling to surrender their property, freedom, or honour, the last of the tribe's warriors make a last-ditch effort to fight and bleed the Pritanoi. As the jaws of the wolf close around the Dumnonian sheep, the prey begin to truly realize the hopelessness of their situation. Some men begin throwing down their spears and shields, begging that even if they are not spared, that their wives and children not be taken as slaves. Their pleas fall on deaf, bloodthirsty ears. At last, a triumphant, overwhelming victory for the Pritanoi. With the last of the enemy tribesmen routed or imprisoned, Bydagnos declares his hegemony over the Dumnonioi, incorporating their tribe into the confederacy of his own people. The losses of the Pritanoi were comparatively few, and Bydagnos sees that there are precious few Dumnonioi left of fighting age. He decrees that the victors may only take the women of the deceased as their wives if they agree to live and work in Arduan and occupy the farms of their slain victims. In this way, two tribes are forced to become one through the wise leadership of Tigernus Bydagnos. He gains a reputation for his fearsome charisma in battle, and the tale of the enemy chieftain, now known as the Decapitant, travels far and wide across Albion. Join me in the next episode to follow the tale of this promising warrior of Albion, and learn of his path to glory against the odds as he guides the people of the Pritanoi into both glory and peril, as he seeks to forge a new order on the mist-soaked isles at the edge of the world, one that will shake the very foundations of the earth and bring greatness everlasting to the sons and daughters of ancient Britannia. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of At World's End, and I'll see you next time.